everybody, it's Valerie from Valerie Wallace-9 Arts, and I'm here in my basement studio in Orono, Maine for 1 o'clock free drawing classes every day. Today we're going to do this cute little puffin. You can find puffins in Maine. I think that's the only place you might be able to find them. Looks kind of like...
Is that true?
It's like a bird version. No, I mean, that's not going to be right. I was going to say a bird version of a penguin, but a penguin is a bird, so like a different kind. What, is that true? I think so.
That they're only in Maine?
I think so. There's something special about it. Okay, I didn't look it up. I can't remember. Okay, let's do it. Let's not mess around. I'm going to start my picture with a gray pastel. Okay, you want something light. Light blue, gray, black, orange. They don't make sense for you to start this picture out. Light green, yellow if you have to. Something on the light side. And what we're going to do, I want you to see that in... I guess I don't need that either. We're not going to look at the head. We're not going to look at the tail. We're not going to look at the feet, but I don't have 3 hands, so we're just going to have to, do that on your own, okay? So what you have is this big, fat oval, right? And it starts right about here, and it goes over like this, and comes down around, and then it's here, okay? That's what we're going to do. You do need to be able to squeeze the head on. I want you to make it big, but I don't want you to run out of room and have the beak touch the side of the paper, because nobody likes that, okay? So, we're going to start, about right here, okay? Does that make sense? Can you see that at all? So this, in relationship to my picture is kind of, above the midpoint a little bit to the right. So if I find the middle and I go up a little bit and I go over here, that's probably pretty good. As long as I leave, don't go too far beyond the middle. So I'm going to start with a dot like that. Okay? Doesn't have to be big, but I'm just making it big so you can see it. So what I did is I went to the middle and I went up a little bit and over a little bit. Like I said, it's kind of like grabbing. Okay? This is adjustable, but you want a big body. Okay? Let's find a spot we want for down here, where the tail feathers are. Okay, so let's say, I don't know what to say about that. That is middle of the paper, over a little bit, maybe like right around here. You still need feet and you still need tail feathers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from those dots and I'm going to round out around. Okay? If you don't get the... He's pretty flat, but if you round it less, you round it more, just adjust it, because we're going to color it all black. So no one will ever see whatever you did for lines. And if you're using a pencil, you can just erase it and do it again or whatever so that it doesn't show through. So don't worry about that, okay? Better to get it in the right place, and there's always strategies for fixing something, okay? All right, now he's got quite a big chest, all right? So don't draw a straight line. That'll look like a turtle shell. If you need to, find where you think you want to hit for his chest and be like, yeah, I want to go here, okay? And you're going to round it out like this. It's going to look like a big almond. But it won't look like an almond when we're done. All right? Good?
Good.
Okay. All right, I'm going to put this down. All right, now we're not looking at the body. We're not looking at the beak. All right, now what shape is his head?
A circle?
Circle, squarish circle, okay? All right. It has a little more shape to it, but again, the shape is going to be added with the black, so you can modify that line later. But don't worry about it now. Now, the size of his head is 1, 2. It's about half, not quite, but about half the size of the body. So that means you look at whatever size your body is and say, okay, well, here's about halfway, maybe a little less. And then I'm going to put that up here, and that's going to tell me, like, how big I need this guy to be. Because if you make it too little, part of the problem is you won't have room to put all the fancy stuff on his face, which is really the important part. But, it just will be a little out of proportion. They're a little too big than too small. And you can always add on to the body, too. That would be an easy thing to do. So give him a nice, whatever you are here, go up there. And what happens is, we're looking at this line right here. We're going to pretend, for the most part, that this is just a straight line. We're going to have a little box in the back for the back of his head. But this doesn't start here. It starts over. So we're not at that dot. You're over here a little bit. And you're going to have a line that goes up to wherever that dot is. Okay? So down here I'm a little bit smaller. I'm going to put that up there. There's that. I'm going to go to wherever I made this dot. I'm going to go a little bit to the left. And then I'm going to have just a straight line like that. Obviously, the bird can move its head around, so it could be in different directions. It doesn't have to be like this. And part of the reason to learn how to draw something from a picture is to just learn to be able to see proportions and control it. And if you can get so you can do it, like you know how to make something look like this photograph, then you can go draw anything, because you know, and you'll know how to make that work, even if you don't care about drawing puppets. Okay, now we're gonna go over to this far, which basically lines up with like right around here. So I'm gonna go over about like this, and instead of just straight line down, what I want you to do is I want you to curve it a little bit like this. Okay, and you can bring that right down to like maybe the dot. So it's kind of like we went like this, and we drew along the beak, and we continued it, and we hit right here. And we'll fill in that little divot in there, okay?
Alright.
Looks weird now, but it's going to look fine, and cool, and fun, and colorful, and cute.
Great.
All those things all wrapped into one drawing. I mean, who doesn't think this is cute? Even if you don't like birds, Deb. Maybe she likes birds now. All right. Okay, let's do the beak. We are going to, like I said, we're going to have a little connection right here. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Just a little connection right here so there's not a little dent. That'll help you. All right. The thing I want you to see about his beak is that the top of it comes almost off the top of his head. And the bottom is a straight line right off the bottom here, okay? It's not super long. If I measure the length of it, it's about half the size of his head, okay? So if I, roughly, I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to stick it out about that far. All right, so that means I'm going to go here. So I'm going to make a line that comes out about this far. Now, do the line and then measure it and say, well, that's about half, maybe a little bit more, but that's fine. Don't make it too little or you won't have room to make the fancy colors. And then the other part starts right up at the top, and you just kind of curve that out. Because beaks are very unique. All birds have different shapes of beaks. For example, a toucan has a very large, colorful beak. A woodpecker has a pointy beak for poking out bugs out of trees.
Science.
Yes, I believe in science. Okay.
I'm glad.
We're not going to do the eye yet because it has something to do with the black. What we're going to do were these little doodads here. Okay, so near the bottom here, I want you to make me a circle right next to the beak. And then you make a little, just kind of little rectangle that goes down like that. A little line that goes down like that, okay? And then what I want you to see is it has this little slice of gray. All right? Not too big, but. So you start at the top of his beak, and you just kind of make a little rainbow on its side, kind of like that. That'll be good. Oh, okay, I'm going to do that down here. I'm going to go right straight out with the bottom of the beak. I'm going to measure that, see if that's about halfway. I'm going to start at the top of his head. I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to make this circle that's down here on his face. And then a little piece that cuts in like that. Okay? All right. Let's do the black now, okay? Let's get that on there. So you can put your gray away for now, and we'll start doing this black. And what I want you to see is that he has kind of like a turtleneck of black, and then like a cape. All right? So I don't want you to look at the head just yet. I just want you to see that. So what's going to happen is a little lower on your almond here, you're going to come across like this. Okay, and then it has a nice feathery edge. You can draw a straight line if you want to. You can draw it kind of like zigzaggy, but you're just going to go basically down to that little point. Okay, kind of like that. All right, so here you just want to, if you forget, you're not, or you're behind and you can't remember what, just remember that you're going to wind up adding a little extra black to hold that cape on there, okay? Alright, like that. Alright, now he has basically sort of two tail feathers that kind of flip out the back there. So if you take the bottom here and you just kind of flip that out, then you can start at the tip and you can just kind of bring that back in. And then maybe you're going to take another piece out, flip that out, and then kind of bring that back in. The one closer to us probably ought to be a little bit bigger, so you can just add on to that if you need to. And then start right up here on his back and just go over that gray line or light line, whatever you have there. Alright? Now we can color this part in. Okay? What other cool beaks are there? Owls have little short ones right on the front of their flat little faces.
A hummingbird.
Hummingbird has a very pointy little beak.
Eagles have very like curved beaks.
Yeah, big
They
ones
look
because they got
intense.
to be able to hold big fish and stuff like that, and little varmints. All right, one you can make if you didn't draw the super dark, you can make a little darker line like that. Varmints. Don't you know what a varmint is?
Like a rodent?
So I have quite a little flip here. If you want to make it more like this, that's a little less. Alright? Oops, I'll color it down here too. So I noticed yesterday when I was walking my dog up at the University of Maine, we came around the corner and there was a fruit tree that was in blossom.
Oh, that's
So
exciting.
I'm thinking that tomorrow will be pink fruit tree drawing, blossom tree. I've got the one in mind.
It's appropriate for Mother's Day too.
Yeah, and I bet everywhere else it's like already
It's a
gone
little
by.
late,
But
yeah.
anyway, I was like, well, we can't do that yet. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure it's happened everywhere else.
Us and then in northern Maine.
I will have to think of something fun to do for Mother's Day. Although probably most people
Flowers.
aren't with their moms, so I
Aww.
don't know.
Well, they can send them their dog.
Yeah, that would be sweet though if like
You could do it at the
people
same
just
time.
even sent in their pictures and maybe they don't know how to. But, okay,
Alright.
if you've got a phone and you can take a picture with it in the comments, can't you push on the camera and get the option to take a picture and it will actually take a picture and as soon as you push send or enter or whatever, it will just be right there in the comments the picture that you took. Okay, all right, let's do the head part now, all right? So, don't lose face, okay? Don't cover up the face too much when you're doing this. So we should be right at the bottom of where the beak meets the face. I want you to be right there with your black line. Then I want you to go in the middle of the back of his head here. I want you to make a spot right here. Okay, and you're going to connect. Do you see how it starts there and it kind of scoops down like this? So you're going to connect like this and you're going to go down right down there to be a straight line too. Okay? So you want to be right up by the bottom of his beak with your black, and then you want to find a spot right in the middle, and you just want to go down to there. Okay? So we'll go ahead and we'll fill this part in. If you haven't got everything filled in, just go ahead and do the drawing part, and you can fill it in later. Right? It'll give you something to do.
Right. That's important.
Coloring is pleasant. Okay, and if you have quite a big, like, angle right where on the back of his neck where it meets his shoulders, all you do is just kind of color over that little spot a little bit, and it will be a little smoother transition from his neck to his back. Okay? All right. Oh, so I'll do it down here. This is another one of those things like, you know, it's a puffin. What else is it going to be? Right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so now let's look at the top with the black. Now don't think about this little corner we have right now. You're just thinking about the inner piece, okay? Inner piece. How about that?
Oh.
All right, so start right at the tip of his forehead. Like I said, don't go over his face too much or I won't have room for the eye. And just go like this, and I just want you to meet that dot. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to round out this part a little bit with the black, okay? You might have to add a little on the top of his head. And you may have to add a little bit out on the back of his head a little bit like this. I'm going to leave that line there for a second. Okay, because I don't want to see everybody have a puffin with a blockhead, okay? There's no reason that you can't draw it perfectly when you just start out and sit down with a piece of paper. You want to see the basic shapes, but once you've drawn the basic shapes and placed them on your paper, you have to figure out ways to kind of soften them and get the contours that make it look more like it is, okay? So just because we drew it as a box doesn't mean that it's a box. And he actually, he's got a little extra sort of height right back here anyway, okay? So that way, even if your head's a little bit on the small side, if it turns out that now when you add this on his head, he's huge, all you do is go down his back and add a little bit on the back, okay? You can easily do that. Just a little will make a difference, okay? So you can color that in. I guess we should have done the blue before we did the black, huh?
Mm.
Look, he's going to want to spread, but
I
that's
was just thinking that.
But we couldn't really because it wasn't on there quick right now. Oh, well, that's all right. So like I said, I'm going to round this this corner on the back of his head, kind of bring this up. And, even if it's not exactly the shape of the puffin's head, it won't look like a box. And who knows, who's looking at your picture that really knows for sure or exactly the shape of a puffin's head. And they probably have slightly different shapes anyway. Look at mine. Mine has like a boof on the back of his head. All right, so if it's bumping out a little bit more than I want, it's okay. All I do is come in here and I'll just add a little extra on the back of his neck. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can even add here a little bit so that it's not sticking out way beyond the rest of him. Okay? You can always adjust. Okay. Let's do a little background before we do the orange and stuff, okay? So this is what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to use my light blue. If you use a really dark blue, it's going to be pretty strong. So think of something maybe on the lighter side or a combination of, the ocean water can be all kinds of colors. It can be blue, it can be gray, green, probably not yellow. It can be almost white, okay? And what I'm going to have you do, instead of, because I don't want you to color blue halfway on the ankles, I want you to start this rock that it's on up here on the tummy a little bit. Whoops. So you're going to make a line that goes like this. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay? Because if you've already done it, just when it comes time to draw the color, the orange in, just make sure the whole entire foot has a blue coating underneath it, and then color the orange on top. Don't have half of the legs, because then you'll see a mistake. Okay? But I'm going to just do this and then come on the other side. Okay, so that when I do my feet, they'll just be on the rocks. All right, and I got a nice pastel with a paper off, so I'm just going to use the side of it. But sometimes you have to just be mindful of the value of the color or the gray that you're using, that it doesn't take much to be so dark that it starts to overshadow the subject. Which, you know, when you're just doing like a fish or a bird, you know, with just kind of a simple background, and then you go like, you know, really dark, especially if you're doing it like thick, it can kind of take over. But if you don't, then you don't have a chance to see how the white sets apart from the white paper, if the paper is white and the belly is white, just for the sake of picture. I'm gonna have to buy some more pastels. So I'm thinking that I will put together some supply lists. You know, thinking that maybe there's going to be online classes of some sort going into the future. I'm going to put together a list so that maybe if you're in the area, I could even deliver that to you and like buy it in mass quantity so that we don't have quite as much, so many online deliveries going to like everybody's house for like one little box of pastels or something like that. I could buy a bunch of them. And also it's cheaper when you buy more of them. So if you're interested in that, you happen to be listening today, then, you know, let me know. I might get paper too, and I can get even an assortment of paper, and then, you know, I could put together a little bit like that. Because the other thing is, I'm thinking about doing, I tell Veronica's, Elsa is underneath
I
so
see
I have
it.
a design coming through. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing some online, like, you know, maybe private lessons or a Zoom, you know, painting party, and I would find some of the just the basic materials you might need. So I'm thinking about that.
That's a lovely idea.
Yeah, and again, it would be makes sense around here. It would be pretty easy for me to make a drive-by drop-off of some pastels and some paper or something like that. Having a decent piece of paper is probably not real expensive, but just decent versus a piece of copy paper. It makes probably all the difference in the world to your picture. Okay. And so on the belly, I might soften this a little bit because there would be a little shadow to it. And I just want to make sure if I'm working in black and white that I don't get too dark with my background. So again, this is sort of the thing I was talking about where it competes too much. So the eraser doesn't erase a lot in this situation, but it just kind of softens it up a little bit. So there's also no texture of my lines because a texture will draw your eye to it and will make it compete with. If you have a real scribbly background, it's going to take away from what you're trying to make people look at. Okay? So this is a little nice piece of white rock. I think I'll deal with that after I do the rest of it. We'll put the rest of the bird together, and then we'll do a little bit with the rock, because it doesn't need, like I said, doesn't need to be colored in too much. Okay. Dropped again. All right. All right. So I have I actually am going to use 2 oranges because I have them. Because the little dot on this face is light orange, and the other part of his beak is kind of dark orange. So I'm going to use 2. I'm going to use this for here. And he has kind of little outlines of all these little, it's kind of yellowish. But, so if you do have gray or something, you can use that as part of the design on his beak anyway. Alright, the other thing I want to do is put his eye in with either a light orange or a dark orange. And that, you just want to be thinking about where it is. You may only have so much room to put it. It's not huge, but and so don't make it too big, because these lines that come off that make it look like, it's kind of like a clown. Is it a clown that has those lines? Makeup here and there sometimes.
Like a Joker kind of.
Or the one that doesn't say anything.
A mime.
A mime.
Yes, a mime.
The clown that doesn't say anything. Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose that's how it's in the dictionary. Alright, so I'm going to make probably a circle about the same as this. And I'm not going to fill it all the way in, because it's going to have a lot of black on it. It doesn't have much color. Okay, so there I'm going to go with that. I'm going to put the orange out here, make a nice, I mean, this is what I've been waiting for the whole time, is to do this orange. This is almost the color of my bedroom, only a little lighter.
Yeah.
Slightly earthier.
I think you said that last time.
Did I?
About something.
Probably the linen one. Alright, when I do the feet, I do want 2 feet. Okay? And one of them is kind of on this side of his body. So I'm going to, and what I noticed too is they kind of lean forward just a little teensy bit, I think, because for balance. But a nice thick ankle. And big. Right? Because otherwise this big fat bird will fall over. Alright? Kind of like that. And then I'm going to put the other one that starts a little lower, so it'll look like it's on the other side of the body. And I'll stick that out here. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll get a little shadow underneath there. We'll see how there's a teensy bit of a shadow here. We'll play that up a little bit, and that'll help to make him look like he's standing up. Okay, let me do that with the black here. So I'm going to keep my orange light gray. And there we go. Come back to that. And I'm going to put a little gray or black would be fine, in these other little pieces here. If you want to try some other videos, you can find them on YouTube at Free Drawing Classes with Valerie Wallace Fine Arts. And they're all on there, and you can see a little thumbnail so you know what you're gonna pull up when you pull them up. And they're also all on my Facebook page, and there is a playlist. If you go to videos, there is a playlist that you can get all of them right there too. Alright, let's see. Alright, then, alright, while I'm at it, I'm going to use the gray for the little doodads on his eyes. So he has a line that goes pretty long right towards the back. And then what this other part is actually a little bit of a triangle. So if you can make a triangle, great. If you just make a line coming off the top of his eye, that'll be great too. Okay? And then we're going to accent a little bit with the black, I think. So here, oh yeah, I want to go a little darker in here. Alrighty. Oh yeah. How are we coming? You're way behind.
I'm kind of waiting for your orange.
Alright, you can have it. Alright. With my black, when I do the circle in his eye, I'm going to see if I can leave a little tiny bit of white behind. So if I kind of color in circles, when I get so there's just a little left, I'll just stop. And I'll have a little dot. And he also also has this little piece that slides the other way, which I'm going to do in black, but it kind of runs like this. Super cool. Okay? Alright, and then I am going to, I think I'm going to accent this stuff on his beak a little bit. Oh, I have it all on my hands. Let's see. There we go. Alright. Not too thick, but just a little bit. A little here. It's actually light, but this is artistic license. Do what makes your picture look good. Oh yeah, and the part that makes his beak open actually comes from that circle and goes to the tip. So if you can come from here and you can make a line that comes like that, that'll look like his little beak. And on the feet, he does have little claws, so you can put that there. And then what I'm going to do is add a little to the bottom of his feet and go right out here underneath. Maybe leave a little space between his tail feathers and the shadow. Like that. I don't know whether that make any sense or not. I guess like that. And I can just make some kind of zigzags here. Alright, and what do you do? We have the gray again. Maybe a little bit of gray right around where his feet go into his body down here. And a little gray accent to where these rocks are. You can swimming. Maybe a great time to use a little pink, like a little granite. If we're doing rocks real hard, remember they're kind of big. The shapes to them are kind of blunt and they're kind of big. So if you think little craggy straight lines, usually makes more sense than bumpy lines, curvy lines. And they don't have to go like this. You can kind of spread them out a little. Alright. I just want to tie his feet to the ground. I don't want them to stick up. I want them to feel like they're on the ground. Alright. So that is pretty much there. I'll do the accents down here. Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
So, I told you we were going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock again. If you can't watch at 1, or you know somebody that's working and they can't watch, just send them to the playlist. If you can make a donation, or if you want to, or whatever, just to let me know you're out there, it's ValerieWallace.com, and you go to the ticket page, and or you can do Venmo at Valerie Wallace at 9.
No, Valerie Wallace-9, not at 9.
Oh yeah, Valerie Wallace-9. Thank you. And and if you can't, then why don't you share it? That would be fun. Share it with somebody, and then you guys can show each other your pictures. My friend Matthias and his friends from school would take a little break and have a Zoom meeting and draw together at the same time, like 4 of them, and it was super fun. Now they're all busy getting the last bit of their schoolwork done. But at the same time, that's fun. When they find they have nothing to do again, maybe come to do it again. Alright.
Looks good.
How's that? Well, I can round this guy even a little more. There we go. Now his head's not so pointy. Coneheadish. Okay. And another thing I could do is a little blue on my wing here. Spread that in there. Okay, sounds good. All right. So I'll see you, everybody, tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're gonna I'll set up the next 3 pictures, but tomorrow I'm pretty sure we're gonna do, I think a tree. And with some dandelions and a fence and stuff like that. It'll be super fun. And then, I don't know what else. I'm figuring it out. Okay? let me show you the up close so you can get your picture together and we're good to go. Oh, my mother's watching. There's Todd again. Hey, Sue. Hey, Carmen. Hey, Vicky. Oh, David Dwyer. Dean, my man. All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.